Man, I love my creeks. I wish I had more time to wander them and on them, point hunting and trapping, all the cool things I do, a little bit of fishing. It's still trapping season here in Missouri, at least for beaver, and this will be the first March in years that I haven't trapped. Time and oh, we've had a few high water deals. Mostly it's just time. And there ain't no money in it. And I never did really do it for money. Well, yes I did. I did it for money. I like getting paid just as much as the next guy to trap. It's a different world nowadays. So we're going to talk about that for just a few minutes here. Why should you even be trapping? What's the point of it? You're not getting paid. It's not a cheap deal to do. I mean, it's as cheap as you want to make it. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I'll be right back. I'm DW Verts. On a pretty freaking cold mid-March day. The cold's almost done though, so look at that, pretty creek. We'll be back in just a minute. Hick Billy Outdoors again. We're going to talk a little bit about not making money trapping. Had to get back in the truck. I just did a little intro for an arrowhead thing I'm going to do. Had my hands, bare hands, that water. I'm getting old, getting soft. I don't know if I have the words for y'all elucidate on what I want to talk about. Hunting and fishing and trapping has been my passion since I was a little kid. Anything in the outdoors is cool, but I've always been a pursuer of the fish and the critters, and just being out here in God's nature. You know, I've talked about this before. It's just what I like to do. But the trapping thing, and it's interesting. I've been planning this video for a while. I started working on it the other day. I should do notes. I apologize. I know better. I need to have notes. I don't read off a script very well. Why should you trap? What's the point? The fur markets have always been volatile, and now they're almost non-existent. And it wasn't the antis that got us like we thought. They did the final death blow on some of this. And I'm saying final. I'm afraid. I was one of those guys always said for years, oh, it'll come back. It's going to get better. Well, I don't know. October of 1987, we had that big stock market crash. And I got half the money that year for almost the same amount of furs I got the year before, and it's never recovered. Not really. We had some good years, 2010, 12. I mean, we did really good money-wise, the same money it was in the 70s and 80s, except the money wasn't the same. But yeah, you know, you get several $1,000s for the fur. It was neat. I don't do it for the money. Unfortunately, money is what drives trapping for most folks. Case in point, I started box trapping when I was 10 years old, catching rabbits out of a neighbor's garden. That was cool. Man, I used to love to box. I box trapped when I was about 14. Loved catching rabbits. My first fur came when I was 12 to 76, 77 that winter. And the number one reason, I remember being fascinated with the critters and the trapping part, but I want the money. Raccoon around this parts of central Missouri was bringing, $20 to $40. I never had a $40 coon. I had some $30, $35 coon though. There was some $40 coon back, and more as you got north. And there's some places in the state of Missouri had pretty fur than what we had, different kind of fur. My first coon I got $22 for. 12 years old, $22. I put my first down payment on a house. I bought my first truck. I bought my first boat with trapping money. So money was important. But being out in the outdoors, the fascination with these critters and trying to best them, it's not that they're smart, even though they kind of are. They're smart in their own way. They reason different than people do. But learning all that over the years just is fascinating. I still, to this day, I'll be 58 next week. I still learn things trapping. I learn things from other people. I've learned things from youngsters I've had out because they have a different way of looking at it. So why should we? There's no money. Traps are expensive. It takes gas and time and effort and whatever to trap. So why should we do it? First off, I have the love for the endeavor. It's not a sport. For years, sport fishing, sport hunting, sport trapping never worked. I don't know about sport hunting. Trapping is an art. It's an art form. Building a set to your own standards, the way you do it, getting an animal into that set where you get him caught, it's an art form, and the critters themselves are art. God, they're beautiful. And you can make things out of them, which is another subject on the same subject, but different. I need to make notes before I do stupid videos. Anyway, it's not a sport, it's an art. So I continue to do it because I have to. I'm driven, whatever. I don't do it as hard as I used to. It's not about the money. I don't have time for the money part. It's a lot of work, and the fur buyers are gone. At least here in Central Missouri, we don't have local fur buyers. When I was a kid, there was 3 in my hometown, and a traveling guy come through every couple of weeks at the farmer's market. You could shop around. I started shipping my fur to Canada auctions, and that's a whole different endeavor. But it's almost all gone. Almost. I'm gonna do it and continue to do it as long as I can. For one, it gets me out. My old fat butt makes me do things. It's work. It's a process that several months out of the year, getting traps ready and all that. So the work thing's enough to scare a lot of people off. So why should you trap? What's it going to take to get the kids out here in the outdoors and off their cell phones and whatever they do anymore? I almost said Walkman. I don't think Walkmans are part of the plan anymore. I'm not very techno savvy. Um, I'm gonna say if you love the outdoors like I do, and there's still plenty of folks out there, of course, love the outdoors. You need to understand the impact that fur bearers have in predation issues. Songbird eggs, turkey eggs. Turkeys and songbirds. Wait a minute. They eat critters, egg to grown up. They don't care. They're going to eat them. A lot of fur bearers are into eating critters. That's the way it works. Um, Fawn deer to adult deer. A bobcat here in Missouri can take down an adult deer. They usually choose not to because there's easier things, but they sure can. And the opportunistic thing, oh yeah. Now we have tons of deer right now, but still, we don't have tons of turkey. At one time, I guided turkey hunters for years. Missouri was number 2 for sure, and arguably the biggest turkey hunting state in the country. And now we're like 43rd, whatever. Our turkeys just disappeared. I argued with the biologists years back. A bunch of us did. Every year we had a bad turkey hatch, they said it was because of wet springs. Guys, we had wet springs. Springs are wet. Springs are supposed to be wet. Those turkeys are better than that. They don't lay eggs in holes low down by the creek. If you don't know, what happens is this. This is proven fact. Ground nesting birds, they lay eggs in hideaway, cool spots, and they don't move, and they're quiet and whatever, but they're also basically scentless, like a newborn fawn. You know that? A newborn fawn deer is almost scentless. They got the spots on them for camouflage. If they don't move, it's hard for a coyote or a bobcat or whatever to catch up with them. Same thing with turkey eggs. They're basically scentless until it rains. When they get water on that nest, it does not hurt the eggs. I guess if it would freeze, whatever. Yeah, there's always something like that. But what happens is when they get water on them eggs, you also have a turkey farm or a quail farm. It stinks. And every Tom, Dick, and coon show up to have a little fiesta and siesta and eat them eggs. Raccoons and skunks are the worst. Possum do it too. And for every egg they eat, they break 2 or 3 more. It's horrible. They wipe a nest out. That's what happens. So too many critters are the issue, not wet springs. So there's no money in fur. The coon hunters used to be, you go out at night in December here in Missouri, you hear coon hunters 3 or 4 directions. I've heard of as many as 6 or 7 guys that call each other, where are you going to be tonight? We're going to go so-and-so. I never heard a coon dog last year, 2 years ago, last fall, just about deer season, I heard coon dogs run one night. So the critters run amok. And then the other issue there is Mother Nature, God, takes over and fixes those overpopulation deals, because all of a sudden we don't have the coons around here we had a year ago or last summer. Sometime late last summer we started getting distemper, I'm sure. The first cold spell we had in October put those coons in den trees for a couple nights, and one sick coon wipes out every other coon around them. It's a fact. One sick animal wipes out the rest. So who gains from that? The tracks I saw this year trapping and out here in arrowhead hunting, and the coon that I caught in a couple weeks trapping, one, yeah. So that problem's fixed for a while till the next problem takes over. So why should you trap? If you have a love for the outdoors, a love for your deer and your quail and your turkey and ground nesting birds of all kinds, just trapping is the most viable way to control fur bearer predation of eggs and other critters. A trap out there working 24 hours a day is way better than anybody hunting. Nobody can hunt that effective. Love to hunt stuff too. Love to call coyotes, but so is that good enough reason? If you have a little farm from 5 to 50, whatever, if you have a place you like to see wildlife and you want to see more turkeys and quail and rabbits and such, trapping is a tremendous, is the only way to viably control those populations. It's a fact, just the way it is. Is that enough? Probably not. Because kids are growing up now without any fascination for a red fox out here in the snow in a trap. It's cruel. Whatever. It ain't cruel. This creek right here behind me, that creek right there, it seems to be a little better than what it's been. I'm not sure what happened with our otter. We still have otter, but not like we had a few years back. The first otter stalking Missouri was 7 miles that way. Boy, they wiped me out. And I've had guys say, no, they don't. Bull squat. They wipe these creeks out. They come through and they hit every fish they can hit and get a hold of. They don't eat them either. They kill them for fun. They're like a cat chasing a mouse that already had a bunch of friskies to eat. They do it because they're hunters or predators. I caught some fish in a video right up here this year. First bass I've caught in these creeks in 20 years. So they'll be back. We caught a few otter this winter. Man, otter are destructive. They get in the ponds. They'll wipe out ponds a mile from these creeks. A mile swath. They're hard to catch in those ponds, kind of, too. They're hard to predict. They're beautiful to watch. They're beautiful fur. Oh, my gosh, the fur on an otter. Fur on any water critter. Otters decimated our creeks and all these ponds around the creeks. Last smallmouth bass I caught in this creek was 1998. I moved to this area because the smallmouth bass and largemouth and Kentucky bass in these creeks, I have not seen a Kentucky bass or a smallmouth this century. It's a shame. Smarter people than me were in charge of that, and it was a screw up, and they admit it now mostly. So anyway, it is what it is. Beaver will change a creek as much or more than 100 or 1,000-year flood. And what they don't change, the 100,000-year floods do, because they follow behind the beaver where the dams have been and cut out new paths. Yeah, I love beaver. Man, I love trapping them. Hard on creeks. Good eating, though. There's another reason to trap. There's some good food. I'm not eating no coyote or bobcat. By golly, you can eat beaver. What's it going to take? I've taught trapping for years. Had students, personal students. I've done clinics and seminars. I'm not doing much of that anymore. I kind of got to be the lone wolf. It's probably wrong. I've started started several clinics that are still running big here in Missouri, but the people where we had 100 and something people a few years back, they had 20 this year. And a lot of the old timers just saying hi to each other. I don't know, guys. I'm afraid it finally has went away. I'm going to keep on doing it. I'm hoping by these videos maybe I can get people interested in getting out there. So what do you do with the fur? You can't hardly sell it. There's always going to be some market. I'm tanning some stuff. There's a market to buy tan stuff. There's always people wanting to have something pretty to make something out of it, put on a wall. Tanning's kind of an art too. I'm not the best at it. My stuff works out good. People like it, but it's a lot of work to soft tan something. It's like garment tan. Anyway, it's something to look up. Interesting things you can do. Is that enough? Probably not. You can get hundreds of dollars for tan fur. You can do things, make things, and I just haven't the time. I wish I'm not a negative person. I did a video the other day. I'm being positive. Sitting out here, the sun on my face. It's 27 degrees, but boy, it feels good. Snow's a melting. Time to start fishing. But as you get older, and I'll be 58 next week, you start reflecting on things. And I never thought trapping would reach the stage it has this early. The antis have done some damage. Oh, poor animals in a trap. No, whatever. I would have, if you've never trapped, the information's all over the interweb. My stuff, I've done some stuff. It's information there. Traps are still available. Trap supply dealers are still, how many of them are hanging in there, but they are. If you're an old trapper, maybe it's time to really think about taking somebody trapping, somebody new, somebody younger. Try to get them excited about it, but it ain't never going to be what it was. Of course, then again, the competition, I own all these creeks. We never saw a sign of another trapper last 3 or 4 years. Wow, that's a benefit, isn't it? Okay, I'm done. I'm going to go back to work. If it made any sense to y'all, I've got other trapping videos I've done, some artsy-fartsy stuff. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe, please. If you don't like trapping, what are you doing watching this to start with? Go watch something else. Go watch a basketball game. Go do something indoors, because I'm an outdoorsman, and trappers are outdoorsmen. That's what we do. God bless you guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Dale Verts. We'll talk at you pretty soon about something else. Bye.